Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam.
All That Jam, Quick Hit. Dizgo on their new singles and new LP.
We're joined by Pickle and Kevin from Dizgo today. We're doing a catch up. We spoke to Jake back in February, and they've had a pretty productive year. How you doing, guys?
Doing good.
Yeah, feeling great.
Yeah,
Very
thanks for having us on here.
yeah, very nice, very nice. So let's start with the studio stuff, and then we'll talk about some of your live adventures over the past 9 months, 10 months or so. In July, you released a single, and in October, you released a single, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I think
And,
so.
and we've got one getting ready to be released next week.
All right, so let's jump into Honey. What's the story behind that? Who's the writing credit on it? That kind of thing.
It I kind of held the vision of it and kind of pulled it together with as far as just the lyrical content and whatnot. But Kev and I had kind of come up with the musical side of things together just at a rehearsal, and it honestly came from just actually one evening I was wanting to kind of play around with one of those little microcorgs that I sometimes have on stage with me, and just found a really cool setting and started playing something, and Kev just kind of wrote a perfect bass line to it. So we knew we wanted to do something with it. And so that was one of the first songs in a long time that we had kind of a real nice, a good musical platform to jump off of. And we kind of actually took some time to think about what we wanted to make a song about. So a lot of times where they just kind of fall into place and they kind of write themselves sometimes, but that one was slightly more premeditated.
Very nice, very nice. Anything you want to add to that, Kevin?
Yeah, I think something kind of significant when we were writing that song. I think Pickle definitely took the lead in writing it and writing the concept of honey with it, and he had just gotten beehives that he was making honey in his backyard, and I think that kind of played somewhat of a role to the theme of that one.
Nice. So, what kind of flowers are your bees feeding off of?
Whatever's in the woods. I don't know. I don't really see which direction they go, but it's kind of on the edge of a wood line, and it seems like they like to go up and then backwards and into the woods. So there's probably just some good wild stuff out there that they're finding. I guess they usually forage pretty close. It's usually within about a quarter mile of the hive.
Right. Yeah, they don't want to get too far from home.
Yeah, but it was definitely interesting to kind of get into the inner workings of some of these larger hives that I had, and just kind of look at how they're conducting their work and what they're doing, and all the different types of kind of jobs that everyone has, and it just kind of helped bring a new angle into thinking about things and kind of drawing some connecting some dots from human civilization and nature, and uh, it also the song too was, at the time, we were definitely wanting to kind of find something that was a little bit more of like a dancey groove too. So it was I would see these bees doing uh, they do these dances, and they are communicating different different information about where food is at and what distance or what direction and how far it is and stuff like that. And around the time that we were starting to write this was when I kind of learned about how to actually watch the dance, and you can kind of actually interpret what they're communicating. And so at the same time, while we were kind of wanting to write this dancey tune, I was like always imagining that the bees were kind of like dancing, like for real, like boogieing. So I like to
Right.
play that into it as well.
That's fantastic. I mean, just, yeah, inspiration everywhere. And you're right, bees do have that kind of organizational thing going down, and ants, right, too, like kind of have their thing happening. So I love
Yeah.
that. So that process that you were just describing sounds a little bit different than It's All Right, which I think came out of a jam session, right? So
Yeah,
would you say
correct.
those were kind of different in terms of their origin point?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Honey was definitely much more of a we we wanted to write a song like that, and we found the resources and the means to do so. And It's All Right was definitely something that kind of uh, it was more like a really awesome accident. We just kind of stumbled into it. We were at the time we were kind of recording longer sessions of improv at our rehearsal space, and we would do kind of just longer jams and just record it and kind of go back and see if there was any magic in there. And uh, it was the it was the part of the song that kind of does like a stop and goes hallelujah, hallelujah. That kind of came out right out of the jam from the first time that we were ever messing around with it. And that just kind of what it struck me as something that was a little bit different, that stuck out. And it doesn't sound the way that I heard it in my head now from what I thought it was going to be, but it ended up just being kind of like a strong enough little hook that snagged me, and I was like, this is definitely worth kind of elaborating on. And through that, just kind of kept rolling with this like very laid back feeling. Just kind of, it's all right, things are good, sometimes they're bad, sometimes there's accidents that are awesome, sometimes you're writing not the best songs, just kind of this theme just kind of laid in there on its own, kind of an all-encompassing thought.
Has that ever happened before? That kind of creation story for a song, or is this the first time that you all have really brought something out of a session like that?
I'd say, in general, like more often than not, our songs will come
Mhm.
out of us all kind of collaborating musically together, through jamming or improvising. We'll kind of find something cohesive about it. And, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it's magic. And we write one of our new favorite songs, It's All Right, just out of one jam session. So,
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time just literally like, recording jam sessions on a cell phone. Just find that we would find that little sweet spot in the room where the phone just picks it up. And it honestly, we joked about putting out like like a collection of songs that were recorded on the phone, because sometimes they sound better than some of the live mixes that come out like, when we're multi-tracking. But yeah, we oftentimes will do the kind of reverse engineering of songs when we write them, where we kind of like a lot. I personally enjoy doing it, I think, more than some of the other guys, but I like to go back through these long sessions and just listen and kind of look for small things or big vibes that we have in spots and try to create them into something that we can use live or into an entire song. And a lot of times, what I like to do is listen to it over and over again and really just kind of immerse myself in the feeling that I'm getting from it, and then allow some form of concept or idea to kind of be drawn from the music that's there. So it's like kind of taking a spark and then trying to create a big fire from it, basically.
So where was Honey recorded? What studio, or
Uh,
did you do it at home? Was it a home
we
studio?
we did it in our own rehearsal space.
Nice.
Um, we have a spot that we kind of converted into kind of a half studio, half rehearsal space, kind of half storage unit almost for all of our accumulated music gear that we've built up over the years.
Does it have a
But
name?
um, we've tried to call it something else so many times, but it always ends up being the jam spot is what it always ends up being. But it's in an old lumber yard, so we tried to call it like the woodshed for a while.
It just didn't hang right.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good though. Honestly, we did a lot of just kind of like sound absorption things. And both in the past, Kevin and I had been employed at different companies that move furniture and or like move things with trucks and whatnot. So we had access to an abundance of moving pads, and so we used a lot of moving blankets to absorb a lot of the sound and kind of create an environment that we could control. and be able to use. And honestly, it to me, it doesn't sound any different than a $10,000 a day studio. It's
I
pretty close.
I mean, maybe for some stuff you need that, but I don't think most people need the $10,000 studio.
Yeah,
And for
a lot of what we're doing is we're kind of trying to eliminate the presence of the space in the sound, and then going back in and actually constructing a space using reverbs and different approaches with audio. But those other spaces, a lot of times, to my understanding, you're really paying for the sound of the instruments in that particular space. So it's got to be a pretty good one for it to be worth the money, in my opinion.
Right, there you go. So the Honey was in July. In October you released Rainbow Lightning. Let's talk a little bit about it, but also were they recorded together, or are you recording each one separately, working on it, releasing it?
We recorded, all the songs on the album and all the singles in just about a month's time with just the same drum setup and the same drum mics. So that is something that we wanted to keep cohesive for all the tracks on all the singles that are on the album and all the songs on the album. We borrowed some microphones from a friend of ours in Indianapolis, John Babcock, and got the drum set up. And yeah, I think we recorded all the songs in a little less than a month, just through multiple sessions. And then once we had the drums done, we, went in and tackled one song at a time by re-recording all the instruments on top of it.
All right. So what's the story behind Rainbow Lightning?
Rainbow Lightning is a, Jake Evett song. He is came in on keyboards, I think in early 2021. Has been such a great addition to the band. We were a 3-piece for a long time, and Jake's a great keyboard player. I was playing bass and keyboards kind of simultaneously, which was a lot of fun. But I think, we wanted to get to the point where we could do a lot more with our instruments, and bringing him in on keyboards was a great asset to the band. And also he's a great songwriter. I think Rainbow Lightning was the second song he wrote for a Dizgo song, and we knew it was a hit right off the bat.
Yeah, I don't know if you hadn't talked to Jake last time about this song, I could give you just a little peek into what the song is about. Oh, I think I lost your audio.
Oh, that'd be great if you could do that. That'd be awesome. I think he maybe talked about it a little bit, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it too.
Okay. Yeah, essentially, we were headed to the festival Secret Dreams. That was at Legend Valley, and that was the first year that festival had happened. And we had been set up with a late night set there. I think we were supposed to play like 2:30 to like 4 a.m. Essentially closing down, the festival on a Saturday night. And we, on the way over there, we were driving our old van, and we got about halfway there, and the transmission blew on it, and we luckily made it to like a gas station. We rolled in, and we were kind of stuck there, and we didn't really leave with a bunch of extra time, so we just immediately were facing the idea that we possibly weren't going to be able to play, which sucked because it was going to, be one of our larger late night festival sets of the year. And we kind of thought it was going to be a really good one for us. So we were kind of started searching around for if there's anybody at the festival that happened to have a large vehicle with a tow package on it that could possibly save us. And we struck out multiple times. And then finally, after an hour and a half or so of searching, one of our good buddies was with somebody that we didn't know. But this other guy had heard of the band Dizgo, and he had just bought a new truck a couple days beforehand, and he got a tow package put on it. And so this stranger that didn't know us allowed Jake to, because Jake was already at the festival, and Kevin, myself, and Eric were on our way over there. But so this guy let Jake borrow his brand new truck. I think it had like 1,500 miles on it. It was like brand spanking new. And he let us borrow this truck, and he came and picked us up, and we rolled in there right in the nick of time. And it just, so what happened was the Main Squeeze was playing on that stage before us, and there had been these terrible storms throughout the day there. And because of all these storms, most of the music got canceled for the day, and there was only a few DJs that got to play, and then the Main Squeeze was able to play, and then the weather had cleared for Dizgo to be able to play. So everybody was super hungry for music. And essentially the Main Squeeze had to push everything back super late because of the weather, and a bunch of the lights had been damaged on the stage from rain and like all these different things. So through this series of terrible storms that had rolled through there, it pushed back the schedule a few hours, to the point where we got there just in the nick of time to just start throwing our stuff on stage. And while we were driving over there, this was, when the sun was going down, as those storms passed over, there was a massive double rainbow that went over all of Legend Valley. And it was at a really crucial time of day where the sun was setting. It looked absolutely beautiful. So tons of people were taking photos of this, and lots of professional photographers that were there were also capturing this image. And there was this just brilliant, huge lightning bolt that struck across the entire double rainbow laterally like this. And this was captured by like quite a few people, and which was kind of like insane that this instant of a moment that was, kind of special, was captured by so many people. And so this whole like this phrase of like rainbow lightning kind of like just became, it was on our radar now, because we saw the images and we are like, wow, that's crazy. And Jake had kind of liked the idea of tying in just the kind of sheer luck that we had, that we finally found this one person that was willing to give up their car and get us there just in the nick of time. And the schedule got shifted just in the nick of time for us to get there. And then we ended up having probably one of the most impactful sets that we had for that entire year. And it kind of was a little bit of like a trajectory point for us. We noticed that after Secret Dreams, we just had a lot more attention all over the Midwest, and especially out east. And it was just a very important thing that we did get to play that. And it was such a positive thing. And it was kind of a, what were the chances of like multiple things that were happening around this event, and that Jake kind of ran with that, what were the chances, kind of serendipitous like kind of situation, and decided to call it the song Rainbow Lightning.
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.